Welcome. This is Mr. Fisher Flips 3rd grade math, and today we're going to be looking at Math Expressions lesson 4.5. Our objective today is rounding to the nearest hundred, and we're going to round numbers to the nearest hundred to estimate the sums and the differences. So a major question we're going to be asking ourselves is, what is the difference between estimate and round? Something to think about as we get started. And I wanted to show you the blog as it's set up. I've been adding these materials so that you can be able to follow along in class, or if you'd like to at home, especially for those that are absent. You can get online and you can look at lessons that are in the past, like on Monday, or our lesson today that we're focusing on is rounding to the nearest hundred, so that's this middle column. The red indicates that these are the notes, and the yellow one is the homework or the classwork, and it will be the same thing that I hand out to you on your way out the door so that you do not have to print it at home. But if you do forget, then it's always nice to have it available. Also, this blue link shows us some links that I've been trying to provide that give you some background information, some videos that also help you understand. Anyway, let's get started with anytime problem. Today's anytime problem is using a palindrome. A palindrome is kind of like looking at a mirror image of a number. So one side of the number is the same as the other side. And if we look at this, if we look from left to right, it looks like, so if we typed in 121, you would see that the 2's right there in the middle, and 1's on one side and 1's on the other side. So we need to use the digits 5 and 6 to make all possible 3-digit palindromes. Now, if we think about it, we can use those repeatedly. So let's try 5, 5, 5. Is that a palindrome? Is it the same on both sides? What about 6, 6, 6? That's also available. What else can we use? 5, 6, 5. Excellent. 5, 6, 5. Is it a palindrome? It is. And let's try the last one. 6, 5, 6. 6, 5, 6. 6. Hey, I even put them in order. 5, 5, 5. 5, 6, 5. 6, 5, 6. And 6, 6, 6. If we erase this, we'll see that those were the numbers: 666, 656, 555, and 565. So we did fairly well on that. And you can probably give yourself a challenge and see if you can come up with a 4-digit palindrome. Then remember, a palindrome is the number that is the same whether it is read from left or right or from right to left. Well, today's practice is to get out your flashcards and actually make piles. I want you to go through and see if you know all the 4's times tables. If you know all the 4's, hey, that was fast. I got all those pretty fast. But I was slower on my 6's. And the 8's, I still don't know them as well. But I want you to go through on your own, or with a partner, or even with a group, and see if you can go through and make 3 piles. I went through those pretty fast. I went through this pile a little bit slower, and I went through this pile, and I didn't know these ones. And so what you do is you check to see if you know your multiplication tables. Well, let's move on to the lesson. Today's lesson, I'm going to model for you how to use the secret code cards. And so let's look at the first number that we want to look at, 368. And so if we take out our code cards, we want to be able to see where 368 is. And if you notice, there's our place value drawing. Is it closest to 300 or is it closest to 400? And so we're going to actually take and let's make 300. And how many? 60. 1, 60. 360. And how many of these do we need? We need 8. So if we take that, we can do a secret code card with 368. And we turn it over, we'll see that there's our place value drawing, there's our 8, and our 6 sticks, and our 3 boxes, right? So if we see that as a place value drawing, we can see that I'm going to say it's above. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 sticks plus 1. I say it's over the 350 mark. And I'm saying 350 because that is, if it's above 350, I'm going to say it is closest to 400. And so when I say it's closest to 400, I can check, yes, there are that many more parts of my place value drawing that are more than the 350. And so it is closer to 400. Well, here's a challenge for you. Try and see if you can do a 4-digit place value. See if you can do a 4-digit place value and still get it to the nearest 100. Okay, there's a challenge for you. Last week, Mrs. Larson drove 191 miles on Monday, 225 miles on Wednesday, and 107 miles on Friday. About how many miles did she drive together? I want you to memorize that word, about. Whenever you see it in a problem-solving problem, I want you to think estimate. I want you to think round. When you round and estimate, you're going to get an about number. About how many miles did she arrive? Well, let's estimate. 191, is that closer to 100 or 200? It's closer to 200. 225, closer to 200 or 300? 200. And 107, closer to 100 or 200? 100. So what I've done is I've estimated those numbers so I can say that 191 is close to 200 miles. 225 miles is close to 200 miles. 107 is close to 100 miles. Checking our answer now, we can add these up. 100 plus 200 plus 200. I say it's closest to, I'm about 500 miles. And we can check our answer. Our answer says about 500 miles. We got it correct. Excellent. Now do this problem on your own. Round to decide if the answer is reasonable. Then find the answer to see if you were right. See if you can round that answer. Is that reasonable? Let's do it together to make sure you have it right. Let's make sure 535. Let's round that first. Closer to 500 or 600? 500 plus 287 now. Closer to 200 or 300? 300. So now we add those two together. 5 plus 3 equals 8. 800. Is that anywhere close to 642? Is it a reasonable answer, this 642? No, it should be closer to 800. Let's check our answer. Not reasonable. If we added it up correctly, we would see that it's 822. A couple other things I wanted to show you is this rounding mountain. When we estimate, we round. The numbers then add or subtract. So estimate is rounding. Remember that question at the beginning? I wanted to show you that estimate does equal round. And what's the code word when we see it in a problem? About. About how much? So we need to find out about how much 132 plus 189 is. And we're going to use this marble. See that marble moving? When it gets up to 150, the marble likes to roll down the mountain. So coming up the mountain, it stays between 150. It likes to roll back down the mountain. So if it gets up to 150, what happens? It rolls down the mountain. And if it doesn't get up to 150, it comes back down to 100. We have 132. What is it closest to? 100. Now 89. Let's look at that 8. If we're at 89, where is it at? 189. So it is closer to 200. Now, when we put that together, what should be the answer? 300, correct? Well, is that an exact answer, or is it an estimate? That 300 is only an estimate. We still have to add up the problem if we want to get the exact answer. But we know about how much it is. Okay? Another thing I wanted to show you is a number line. Now, if we looked at 368 and we wanted to find it on a number line, we'd find 300. And what's halfway between 300 and 400? 350. 368 is right in there somewhere. 368 would be about there. Well, we can use that to add these two numbers. 230 plus 175. Well, let's estimate so we can get a estimate problem. We're going to get about 200 plus, what's 175 closest to? 200. Now if we add it together, we can use a number line to say that it's 200 plus 200. So the answer is about 400. And we can actually add that up to make sure that we've got it correct, 405. So 405 was the exact answer. What was the estimate? 400. Do you see how that works? Estimate means about. And there's one other thing I want to show you is some poems that I've learned over the years. 5 or more, raise the score. Less than 5, take a dive. Here's another one. Find your place, look next door. 4 or less, just ignore. 5 or greater, add one more. All digits in front, stay the same. All digits behind, zero's your name. Couple poems that I like to present to you as we look at rounding and estimating. Here's an activity I want you to try at home. If you look at this, I want you to write a 3-digit addition exercise. Just come up with two different numbers and see if you can round them. Use a calculator to find the actual sum and see if your estimate was close. Another activity you can do at home is get out a map and pick two locations, two towns or cities, and measure the distance. Use the distance with the key at the bottom and see if you can estimate the distance between two cities. Like, for instance, what's the distance between Salt Lake and Bear River City? If you estimate those, that's part of learning how to estimate and round. And then you can get out a ruler and see if you're close. Well, that brings us to the end of our lesson. Our homework tonight will be solving to the nearest 100. And there's a couple problems here where you have to add the two numbers by estimating. You're going to take 718 and 822 and round them. Estimate 700 plus, what's 822 closest to? 800. Remember this word about how many. And round each number. There's about 15 problems there that you can be able to do on your own. We'll be checking our answers in class. To finish off today, our WSQ. When and where did you watch the video? Sum up what you saw. What was the main idea? And write one question you might have had from watching the video. That's all I have for tonight. Remember to round to the nearest 100. Is rounding and estimating the same? Yes, it is. Okay, that's all for tonight.